Hello and welcome to the first in a series of compassionate conversations for a courageous life. I'm Joanne Wenner and I'm part of the Wellness Universe on their Leadership Council and a member at large. And it's just my pleasure to be able to represent them today and always, and especially in this series of compassionate conversations. I want to begin with this series with the idea of forgiveness, because what I have found in my own life is forgiveness of ourselves and for others is really a wonderful place to begin loving and lasting relationships. And so I'm going to start with a quote by one of my favorite, or probably my favorite current day poet and philosopher, David Whyte. In his beautiful book, Consolations, Whyte shares with us that all relationships of any length are based upon mutual, continuous forgiveness. Without tolerance and mercy, all friendships die. Mutual, continuous forgiveness. I believe this to be true. In lasting relationships, in every lasting relationship, we must come to forgiveness, not once, not twice, but again and again and again. It is through a life of continuous forgiveness where we allow ourselves to begin again and again and again in each moment, that we have a place to form relationships over and over and over again. Lasting relationships, loving relationships. And I found out recently that this is something that's very much needed, desired, and maybe lacking in a lot of relationships. So here's a little bit of a personal story that is fairly recent. I've been a single mom for a very long time. That's not recent. It's been over 10 years by choice. And I chose to stay single because I really wanted to concentrate on being an attentive mother. I needed to do that for my kids and for myself. And I wanted to work on myself and figure out who I was and where I was in my life and what I really needed and desired in a relationship before I entered into another one. So through this journey of motherhood and discovery, I really found that forgiveness had to be my starting point again and again and again to learn to love myself. Forgiveness was the only place I could begin. And I needed to have a loving relationship within myself, with myself, before I could begin one with another. Knowing this a few months ago, I decided I'm now ready to start that. I wanted to have some companionship in my life when COVID, is behind us. I wanted to be able to share my life with another person. And so I signed up for Match, and I was very honest about who I am and what I was looking for in a relationship with someone. And one of the things I wrote about was that in creating relationship, I knew that if it was going to last, it needed to be based upon a continuous mutual forgiveness. Back to that quote from David Whyte. And I wrote that and I put it out there, and wow, wow. I can't even begin to describe the response I got from that. It was as if no one had ever spoken about forgiveness in building relationship. Within a very short amount of time of putting that out there, over 65 people responded to say that they had never read a profile like mine. They had never had somebody talk to them about forgiveness in starting a relationship, but it was so attractive to them. They knew that's what they needed in relationship and didn't have in earlier relationships. And it wasn't just a response from people who were interested in matching with me. It was a response from people who just wanted to comment on that. They didn't need to think we'd be a good match. They just wanted me to know that I'd struck a deep chord within them. And this really got me to thinking. I guess we don't talk about forgiveness a lot. Again, especially in starting new relationships, we don't often, or if ever, begin in speaking about the need for forgiveness. And the truth is, we need to start within ourselves. From my own experiences, there's probably a lot inside all of us, in each of us, that needs forgiveness. It's been locked away. And until we are curious enough to begin an exploration of all that needs to be forgiven, we keep it locked away pretty tightly. There's parts of us that really beg our forgiveness. And again, I just want to say that until we begin within ourselves, until we muster the courage to look within ourselves and throw back the covers and find what needs to be forgiven, we never really will be able to have a lasting relationship with another, because relationships endure by mutual, continuous forgiveness. Sometimes when clients come to me, they've been hurt so badly in their past, they've been inflicted with so much pain, whether from another or from something they've done to themselves, that they've lost themselves. They've locked their true self away, and before me is a specter of who they are, a ghost of themselves. A ghost wearing a thick suit of armor, and not just armor, but one wrapped in chains around and around and around themselves. They've locked themselves away and maybe even put a big padlock on that and thrown away the key. Sometimes they know where the key is, but they don't have the courage to unlock it themselves. And I really do understand this. I've been here myself. I've been this person. I've been them. We all have to some degree. So let's just take a moment here to acknowledge that at some point in our lives, or from time to time, we've locked ourselves away from the outside world. We've taken our most fragile parts and hidden them away to keep them safe, to keep ourselves safe, to survive through times that seem untenable, unbearable, unforgivable. So when I have a client in my office or on a call seeking help to find that key, or if they know where the key is, they need someone to give them that support so they have that courage to open the lock. I am courage for them until they can be it for themselves. I am that raging heart for them until they rediscover the raging heart, that courage within themselves. And this is the first step toward healing. This, my friends, is a very courageous act, this willingness to go inward on a journey of self-discovery into our hearts that have been torn apart, broken, sometimes trampled upon, and allow love to begin raging within us and to bring us back fully and completely into ourselves. It's from this place, through this road of forgiveness, down this road and up this road and around its winding paths, that we come again and again back to love. Forgiveness becomes our key. Forgiveness takes courage. Again, it takes that raging heart. It's one of the hardest things we're called to do in our lives. I believe forgiveness is an ultimate act of love. And so I invite you along your own path of forgiveness.